Hey guys, today, as promised, we're going to be taking this brand new Gibson Les Paul, which is the KIRK HAMMETT Core Greeny model, and we're going to be fixing what is, in my opinion, the one thing that they got wrong with this guitar, and that is in fact the satin finish. It's very smooth and satiny looking, and it's not in line with a lot of the other higher end Gibsons. So we're going to try and eradicate that, and in the process potentially knacker the finish, because you know, these finishes are naturally a lot thinner from what I've read. So we could potentially go through the finish. We're going to start off using this Virtuoso cleaner product. This is not, you know, a paid endorsement or anything, but it seems to be one of the best ones that I've read about. And then we're also going to be using this Virtuoso polish after we've done the cleaner on it. Also, one of the things that I really don't like about new guitars is the fact that the nickel is totally shiny. Look at that, it's just so brand new. And just while recording this video, the guy that delivered this Amazon package just left it in like literally the middle of the street, and it's got hydrochloric acid in. So he just left it in the middle of the street. That could have been a disaster waiting to happen, but yeah, we'll talk a bit more about this later. This is for the nickel hardware, speeds up the aging process with that. So let's start taking the guitar apart and yeah, let's see what happens. So if you see the guitar in this lighting, this is exactly what I'm trying to eradicate. It's just got that really satiny, smooth look. As we're working, we're gonna have a Captain Meets Mark Agnesi video going, so if that's not inspiration, I don't know what is.
Stay on the job.
So we're going to start by using a bit of this premium cleaner. It's literally just exploded everywhere, as you can see, so my floors have got a free polish. So we're going to be using a cloth in between each layer just to wipe it down. And I'll tell you what, after that first layer, I think you can already see it shining up a bit. If you look at that, look, you can see a bit of the glassy look to it already. Honestly, I reckon that might even be good enough. If I just use the polish now. So that's the first layer of polish. But to be honest, I don't really want to get it too much more shiny than that. I might just do one more polish. So here we go, guys, look at that. That is after the second polish coating. That's crazy. That's exactly what I was hoping for. Certainly on the headstock, mission achieved right there. It now blends in with the glossy bell neck cover, because before that looked really out of place. But look, it's the same sheen and shine now. So let's go on to the body now, I think. This is a bit more scary than the head. Let's say goodbye to this satiny finish one last time. Okay, so that's the first layer of the cleaner done. It's starting to take a little bit of shape, but yeah, let's do the second layer now. So guys, after 2 layers of the cleaner, it's starting to actually shine a bit. If you look at that in the lighting. As I'm on the 3rd layer of this, guys, I can really start to see it shine up, and that's even without the polish. But yeah, we're just going around in circular motions, trying to do it as even as we can. So here's a look after the very first polish. Certainly not satiny anymore, so let's give it another whole polish over the whole body. I think this is pretty much done now. I'm gonna start, I think, actually doing the back of the guitar and the sides. The sides of this, it's actually starting to polish up really nicely. The back, it's not quite as glossy as the sides just yet. I'm gonna put quite a lot of polish on, and I'm gonna really give it some elbow grease on this round. Right guys, if you look at it under certain light, it's just completely orange peely. But if you look at it there, look, it's actually quite bad over the whole guitar. So I'm gonna revert back to my trusty steel wool, give the whole thing like a steel wool going over, and that way you can smooth out all of the areas where it's just orange peely, and then hopefully polish it back up to a bit of a sheen. So this is a bit where I could totally destroy the guitar here, so what the heck. But I've done a bit of the steel wool here, look, it just almost turn it back into satin and then start again, I think. So let's see how it goes. So here we go. I've just given it a massive rub all the way over with 000 steel wool, and given it a polish back up again. It's got that real nice VOS look to it now, very glossy, slightly faded gloss look, like on the VOS very expensive Gibsons you'd see. Headstock is pure glass, there's literally no orange peel for that. Look at the hardware we've just taken straight off the Les Paul. You can see it's brand new and shiny from the factory. So what we're going to do is going to take like a plastic tub. We're going to grab this brick cleaner. Probably want to get about 5 to 10 centimeters worth. What we're going to do is place our hardware inside of another tub. So we put it in there, nice and safe. Then what we're going to do is put the lid on. Boom. We've created like a little acid chamber for the hardware, and we're going to periodically check back and see how the process is going. So the acid we ordered from Amazon really wasn't doing anything after about 3 or 4 days, and it's just too long, it's not going to do anything. And when it did, it gave this faux sort of bronzy look. So we've ordered the serious stuff. You can see the fumes just coming off that is deadly. This stuff is really intense, it's literally fuming away. But look at that, it's starting to age beautifully. They're really aging within 20 minutes. So this project is turning into one of those ones that you just wish you didn't start. But it's quite fun at the same time, but it's just stressful because every moment you're like, am I going to destroy the guitar permanently here? And you know, it's an expensive guitar to be messing about on. So I don't know how all this video was supposed to be was glossing up the satin finish. I've basically been obsessed with watching, you know, Gibson videos the last few days. You know, watching how Tom Murphy ages guitars, looking at how the original ones check. So I've decided that I want to do some checking on the finish of the Les Paul, and I've just ordered a hairdryer and some canned air so that I can give it the most natural effect. And this is what's turned up. Look at that monstrosity, look at that. I'm going to try the checking on the headstock by heating it up with a hairdryer and then spraying it with some cold air upside down, and the contrast in temperatures should cause the wood to expand and contract, causing the nitro to crack and give you that really nice old school checking vibe. Don't think that did anything. Okay, that was crazy hot to touch, and that is freezing cold. Why is this extreme temperature not doing anything? I held the gun for ages around the same point, and it's caused the wood to expand a lot and just the lacquer just to sort of melt. But the contrast did not cause any checking. So I don't know if it's just because it's a satin finish that it won't check properly. If anything, that's taught us to be careful with this going forwards on the front of the finish, because you can see it can do real damage. So I'm gonna have to just be careful here and just yeah, take it easy. Guys, disaster has absolutely struck, and I've literally heated up the carpet so much that it's burnt through to the wood underneath. So what the heck, look at that. There's the most minuscule amount happening on the headstock. That's checking right there, but that's all that's happened, and I've done very extreme temperatures. There's a tiny bit here and a tiny bit here, but you won't even be able to see it on camera. And also I was starting to melt the fretboard by using too much heat. And of course on the back we had the bubbles here, which completely destroyed that side of the finish. Sadly, after doing a bunch of research, I've realised that this guitar just won't check. I think there's too many plasticizers in the finish. It's either that or just the fact that it's such a thin satin nitro finish, so there's not enough lacquer to actually show the checking. So the only other way is with the scalpel and to actually manually add the checking yourself. So this is a very scary part, and I'm not 100% sure I'm going to do it just yet. But I've heard that Tom Murphy from the Murphy Labs Gibson team actually used to use a scalpel before they started using the temperature method. So it can be done, and you know, not look too contrived, but it's going to be very time consuming, and also, you know, if it looks wrong, you're just carving up your guitar, literally. I've started messing about on this old bass that I found. It doesn't look too great in person. Actually, that looks pretty good. Looks pretty good on camera. I've ended up finding this old Gibson style neck in our workshop, so that I'm going to be able to test on this going forwards. This was from my old 1967 Gibson 335, in which, you know, the whole neck was actually replaced. So here's a reference picture of what we're trying to go for. You can see the white checking lines just going all over the place on the headstock there. Yeah, let's dig in. So here's the test result. What do you guys reckon to that? I don't think that's too bad. I wish it looked really bad so that I could think, oh nah, let's not give it a go on the real one, but that actually looks pretty bang on. Oh, that's a dilemma. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to knock this back a bit with some steel wool again, and this MONTY'S Guitars Relic wax, which Anderton sent us the other day, which was out of the blue. But they didn't even know we were relicing anything, and yeah, it must be a sign that we should do it. So the idea behind this is that it's gonna make the cuts surface level so that they're not gonna feel like razor blade etchings. Also, it's going to dull the finish by using the steel wool while rubbing in this relic wax to the cracks to make them not seem so obvious. So it's like a triple whammy. Look at that. That looks old. It's not visible from all angles, so that's good. Feels like real checking now, because of course I've smoothed it down with the steel wool. Oh, should I try it on the actual Gibbo headstock? That's scary. Look at that, guys. I reckon that looks pretty good. So this video is seeming to turn into like a full relic video. I'm using the materials that would have actually caused the relicking in the first place. So there I'm using, like, you know, a jack plug to simulate all the times that you'd accidentally, you know, miss plugging it in. It's starting to wear through ever so slightly. You can see here we've worn through. You know, wearing it in the spots that you'd expect to see. Now the problem with this method is it just takes so long to do, but I honestly think it's the most natural looking wear that you can get on the back, because of course you're just literally using the tool that would have been used, which is a belt. If you look at that, yeah, it's just looking really cool. And the great thing is you can use the end of the belt to round off some of the edges. We don't want to go too much further than that, because otherwise it will just turn crazy. So now, a bit like with the belt buckle rash, we're going to use a pick just to get some natural wear here, as if we've been playing for years with a pick, and we're just going to sit here for a few hours and just do this. I've given the knobs a slight age. I've steel wooled them and roughed them up a bit on the ground. Here's how the shiny plastic looks before you do anything to it, and here's what I've just done to relic the pickup ring cover, for example. And because it's been raining here in the UK, as always, we've put the rings on the floor and just scratched them up a bit, and just gives it that old school 50s vibe. Okay, so this video took a completely unexpected turn. In the end, I am so happy with how this guitar has turned out. So here it is. This is the end result. Look at that shine on that satin finish now. I don't think you'd call that in any way, shape or form satin now. Here's the light bouncing off the back. It's not quite as shiny as the front, but that's to be expected for the more woodeny finish. But look at that, it's very Gary Moore-esque. Now obviously this is a Greeny Les Paul. What I didn't realise is, and I can't believe I didn't know this until recently, but Gary Moore had two old school Les Pauls. So he had like the Greeny one that obviously he bought from Peter Green, but he also had the Still Got the Blues Les Paul, which had the pickup covers off. And when I was buying this Greeny Les Paul, I didn't realise that subconsciously the reason I was choosing the more orangey look was because it looks more like his Still Got the Blues Les Paul. That is also the reason I've chosen to leave the pickup covers off. Now I didn't actually anticipate this even being a pro with the satin finish, but because it's such a thin finish, it wears really easily. So a lot of this relicking was done literally with a guitar pick, a belt. It molds into a really nice worn look just with minimal effort. If you get it in the right light, you can see all of the pick marks starting to happen naturally already, and especially around this area as well. It's just starting to wear very nicely. Now, if you guys are looking to do a similar thing with a faded or satin finish, I'd definitely recommend slightly sanding down the overall finish first, just to even out the surface, because when we simply used the Virtuoso cleaner and then polish, we were left with a massively orange peel effect. So that is something that I would have done again if I simply wanted the more polished look like we set out to do. Now, when we tried to get the finish to check, it did somewhat do it on the top of the finish. You know, here and there, it would flake ever so slightly. If you look at the headstock, it actually did check quite a bit towards the bottom and also around the logo area. Both the plastics and the hardware, in my opinion, have turned out pretty amazingly. From all of the pictures I've seen online and also the results we've got in this video, the fumes from the hydrochloric acid is a lot better way to go because it's less intense and you get more control over it, and the end result looks a lot less contrived. Again, I wish I'd skipped straight to the stronger stuff in this video, because the first one we used from the Amazon delivery was totally not strong enough at all, and it didn't do any damage after, I think it was like 3 or 4 days. This video has taken a long time, by the way. This has been going on for probably a few weeks. This guitar has consumed my life for like a few weeks. One other quick mod we did was to do the Jimmy Page style top wrapping of the strings at the bridge. So many people say that this makes the guitar sound more resonant, and apparently it's a lot easier to bend the strings with using this method here because of the angle. So what do you guys think? Have we just destroyed our brand new Les Paul, or is it a much better upgraded instrument now? To me personally, it has that really broken in feel now. I'm not scared of making the first scratch. Anyway, let's go and plug this in and see if it actually still works. I'd also be interested to see if taking the pickup covers off and seeing if this top wound stringing method makes any difference to the tone. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you like these types of videos. Let's hear what it sounds like now, so let's go.